Now, where the US Senate has now cleared a bill that would pave way for tariffs of up to 100% on countries buying Russian oil, gas, and other energy products. Now, with India and China among the major buyers of Russian crude, the legislation could have significant implication for New Delhi. Now, this legislation still has to clear the US House, while President Trump would have discretion over whether and how to impose these penalties. Now, does it mean that there is another tariff threat with the US Senate now passing the sweeping sanctions package that is now aimed at cutting Russia's energy revenues, with India and China among the major buyers of Russian oil? Well, what are we looking at, Srinjoy? Is this another tariff threat?
It certainly is, because while the Senate has cleared the Lindsey Graham bill, and they have watered it down from a potential 500% to about 100%. There are two things that still have to be done. First, the House of Representatives has to clear the bill. Now, we have to see whether that happens or not. And if that happens, then the President himself has to clear it. If that happens and the bill becomes an act, then yes, you're right. America has the potential of imposing 100% tariff on Indian goods. Now, that's something India has to worry about, because oil is something that India has been buying a lot from Russia in recent months. In fact, of the three most prominent importers in these recent months, Russia is one of them, along with the UAE and Venezuela. And this is primarily because of all the troubles in the Strait of Hormuz. Once upon a time, India bought a lot of oil, as it does, from the UAE, but also Saudi Arabia, natural gas from Qatar, Kuwait, Iraq, and so on. Now, that has ended, primarily because of the problems in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, unless the situation in the Gulf eases, Russian oil becomes an issue. And India needs that Russian oil unless other markets open up, whether it's Canada, whether it's more oil from Venezuela, whether there are alternatives in getting oil from the Gulf through the Red Sea. Yes. Whatever it is, something needs to be done. But more worrying is this bill, which potentially could become an act.
Yes, because this is a legislation that will allow President Trump to impose up to 100% tariffs on goods from countries that will continue to buy Russian oil and gas. Srinjoy, for the moment, thank you very much for joining in. Pathikrit Paine is connected with us. Pathikrit, what is your understanding? Because it is yet to become a law. But again, are we looking at a tariff threat that could hover over India?
Well, yes, that's the only game right now left with the Americans. But if you look at the predicament of the situation, the kind of complexities and challenges we witness in the Middle East, if we entirely stop taking oil from the Russians, the price of oil is going to go up even more. There are not many options left when it comes to countries like India or China. In fact, if we remember rightly, a few months back, it was the American president who had given waiver for countries like India to buy more oil from Russia to cool down the price of oil. As situation right now is escalating even more in Middle East, price of oil is only going to go up. So if an entire boycott of Russia happens, if that's what Americans want, then the price of oil would have even more pressure. So I think there's a lot of confusion when it comes to the American policy, when it comes to their directions, because on one hand they want the price of oil to come down by boycotting Russia, which is not going to happen. And if they want the price of oil to stable down, either they have to stop the war or they have to take sanctions out of Iran, because boycotting entirely Russia and Iran, it's simply not possible. It is simply not possible that way. In fact, I think this is only some kind of a pressure tactic. Eventually, I would not be surprised if again in the next few months, a few days, if the war continues like this, America would be compelled to give even more waiver to India so that we buy more Russian oil to swoop down the price.
Well, that has happened with the ongoing conflict that continues in the Middle East. Patikrit, thank you very much for joining in. But this package would also allow President Trump to impose tariffs up to 500% on Russian imports, including oil and gas, while giving Washington wider powers to target countries who continue to purchase Russian energy. With that, we head into a short break.